I now recognize Ranking Member Kuster for her opening statement.
Thank you very much, Chairman Kaufman and Chairman Hardy, and I want to welcome our colleagues, Mr. Rice and the Ranking Member, Nydia Velasquez, for joining us today. This afternoon marks the third hearing we have held over the course of the last number of weeks regarding procurement problems at the Department of Veterans Affairs. We have focused on the accusations made in a 35-page letter that Mr. Jan Frey, VA's Deputy Assistant Secretary and Senior Procurement Executive in VA's Office of Acquisition and Logistics, sent to Secretary McDonald in March. This letter paints a picture of a VA acquisition process where acquisition and procurement regulations are routinely ignored. Most troubling to me is that this letter highlights a problem we see time and time again at the VA: broken and non-existent processes and systems. These are necessary to ensure that policies and requirements are followed. These are necessary to provide accurate data with which to judge the effectiveness of the VA's efforts. And at the end of the day, the lack of objective and realistic data means that managers cannot manage and resources cannot be best utilized to provide benefits and services for our veterans. We must get to the bottom of the allegations we're addressing today. VA's misreporting of its contracts with small businesses to the Small Business Administration, and all of the procurement problems that we have been exploring over the past month. Our hearings and the hearings we have held over a number of Congresses point to a VA that has lost its way, a VA that across all programs and departments is failing our veterans. This is a systemic failure. The secret waiting lists in Phoenix and at VA medical facilities across the country, the ensuing patient access crisis, the VA claims and appeals backlog, the current budget shortfall, and the VA's inability to manage procurement. All of these problems are the result of VA's failure to collect, use, and report accurate data. Today's issue is no different. The VA will never be able to appropriately plan, allocate resources, request necessary funding from Congress, and execute its mission without accurate data and without the necessary processes, systems, and leadership in place to make it happen. This system-wide failure did not happen overnight. It has been decades in the making. But we're facing the results of decades of problems today, and we simply must begin to work on addressing these problems. We can no longer slap a Band-Aid on a problem and manage from crisis to crisis. So where do we start? What steps must we take today and tomorrow and the weeks ahead to fix VA's failure to collect accurate data, provide sufficient oversight, hold managers accountable, and consistently execute the law? I'm focusing on accurate data, systems, and processes, since I believe that these are the systems that can be the steps that can be taken to move us forward. This is not the end of the reform effort, but merely the beginning. The end of our reform effort must result in a VA where the issues that we have been addressing this past month and for many months and years are the exception and not the rule. That reform effort will need the work of all of us, and I, for one, cannot wait to begin. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield back the balance of my time.